Okay, welcome back to Done on Purpose. It's time for another power acronym 185 free. And so I wrote this power acronym last year, 2024, around Independence Day. I was thinking about American values and wanted to explore the concept of freedom. And I thought it was appropriate now in January 2025 as we approach the closing of an election year, Trump being inaugurated, good to revisit it for that reason, but also at the top of the year, how can you exercise your freedom and discover what that means this year in a new way? So let's dive right in. I'm going to kick it off with this quote from Gary John Bishop. He's the author of a book called Unfuck Yourself, I believe. And we had the daily calendar, and it was really, really great. So just want to hone in on that real quick. This quote is really powerful. It says, "The pathway to freedom is initially shocking as you first confront what you now need to do, bumpy and messy as you start to take care of those things, and finally easy and graceful as you begin taking on a life in a new clearing of authenticity and power." So let's unpack that in the context of this power acronym. I was inspired by that quote in part. And so I just want to highlight really quick these three things that we're going to come back to. So, shocking, bumpy and messy, easy and graceful. I just wanted to point that out and I'll point it out again. But let's get right into the first letter of free. And it's really, this is unique in this power acronym because I'm actually going to combine the first half. So FR, and we're going to start with that. So base responsibility. And so I imagine this as, when we talk about freedom, freedom doesn't necessarily mean you can do whatever you want. It does, I suppose. You could take it that way, but that will probably lead you into a path of trouble, and so, or darkness, and or worse, death. And so, what we want to find out is what is the virtuous way to pursue freedom. And so I wanted to unpack that a bit. If we imagine the road to freedom a little bit, I drew this box here before. It's a it's a big road, it's a long road, and there's a bright future ahead of you, and you really can go wherever you want in 2025 and beyond. And it's a weighty thing to measure when we realize the freedom that we have and the control that we have. I do a lot of reading. I'm a reader of Stoicism, and the first principle of Stoicism is understanding what you can and cannot control. And so, in exploring this from a visual perspective, I wanted to share this box, this road that we're on, but also transform it because it's also like a mirror that we are placing ourselves in front of. And so when I talk about face responsibility, when we're talking about freedom, we're facing responsibility in its face. And so we have a freedom to choose that virtuous pathway. And so I'm looking in the mirror, and I invite you to do the same. When we're faced with a stimulus, a problem, a challenge, a road ahead, a long road ahead, it's time to face responsibility, take that responsibility, and do something good with it. Do something good with it for yourself, for others, for life itself. And so that's the FR piece of this power acronym, free, face responsibility. It's the first step. And so, um, taking it back to Gary John Bishop's quote, I just wanted to point this out as well before we move on to the two E's. That's kind of the more gritty piece is the shocking point. And so this can be shocking. And that's why I have the this kind of exclamation point too, because it's important. It's very important and critical that we understand this because true transformational positive growth and change is not going to happen until we really look at it ourselves face to face, seriously, become okay with this shock, and then engage, which is the first of the E's. And so we are going to engage. And so it's up to us to start engaging with the problem, the challenge, as Gary John Bishop says in that quote, as you confront what you now need to do, it's bumpy and messy as you start taking care of those things. So as we dial it in, I implore you to start dialing in what are the small actions that you can take right now? What are the small actions that you can take and plan for to start engaging with this problem in a different way, to dial it in, really dial in that scope, get clarity on what your target is, what you want, what you don't want, who you are and who you're not, accept those things, and then get to work. And so that's when we engage life itself and really exercise our power for the first time. You might be off target. That's okay because you've got plenty of shots left to take. Wayne Gretzky quote comes into mind, right? 100% of the shots you don't take, you're going to miss every time. Something like that. Anyway, so that's engage. And to finish this out, and it's kind of a linear pathway, right? So we face responsibility. First step, second step, engage. Third step, we expand, which is where we really realize the power that we have to not only grow ourselves, but also grow others. And that is how leadership takes place. So you have to face responsibility, you have to engage, and then we can expand and start growing other people. That's how leaders begot leaders. And that's really how you start finding new highs and raising your baseline to a new high as well. So we just consistently go up linearly. And so I've got the arrows here to expand, to start thinking about, this is how we work out our freedom. We just start expanding into different zones. So we face responsibility in our energy, in our nutrition, in our food, and in our exercise, and in our activity. And we face responsibility at our workplace in a particular project. We face responsibility with the loved ones that we have, our spouses, girlfriend, boyfriend, our kids, our community. We engage with them. We engage in these things in different activities and different actions, new ones in different ways. And then we expand and we show that we have this new clearing that Gary John Bishop talks about. As you begin taking on a life in a new clearing and authenticity and power, that's where we realize our power is in the expansion. And so that is Power Acronym Free. Let me know what you think.